Hey guys, this is Brandon with St. John's Krav Maga and Fitness in the United States Krav Maga Association. Coming to you again live from my car where I think of all my videos to shoot. I wanted to talk today a little bit about what I call the deadly mathematics of denial and the number one. And what I mean by that is every time there's an active shooter incident, whether it's in a school or a shopping mall or wherever else, I try to get as much training as I can out there because at those moments we are particularly aware of those incidents, and it's generally easiest to get that training out. And very often after school shootings in particular, I found it really difficult to get any traction on that. I would go to the school board, I would go to different school board members, I would host events, and I would try to get some training out to the people who needed it the most in the event of another active shooter event at a school. Just didn't get much traction on it, and one of the reasons for that is quite simply math and the mathematics of denial. It is very easy to tell ourselves that an active shooter event won't take place in our one town, at our one school where our children go to, in our one classroom where our children are learning. It's easy to do that. You know, we see some school shootings like Sandy Hook, like Columbine, like over in Russia, and they're just, you know, they're so horrifying, you know, and they're absolutely terrifying. You know, the idea of a terrorist act or an active shooter event occurring at the safe place where we're sending our children to learn and to grow and to improve, it's just a horrifying thing. There's a lot of false comfort in denial, you know, and it's kind of a herd mentality. You know, you've got a herd of buffalo and there are 100, 150 buffalo in the herd, and which one of the wolves going to pull down? You know, the safety in the herd, or the feeling of safety in the herd comes from math, right? But ultimately the wolves are going to choose one to pull down. And for that one is the biggest number in the world, right? And then the safety of the herd mentality evaporates right before your eyes, because that one is inevitably, you know, that's the most important event in that one's life. You know, that's the most important thing going on. And the same thing happens to us. Now, I'm sure the folks at Pulse last Saturday went into their safe place, into their club, and they had no concept that was going to happen, that the number one was going to be them on that night, that one club, that one day, and that one night. And it's horrifying, you know, because those are our safe places. Those are where we go to have fun, enjoy our friends, relax, you know, and when you find that place has become the one spot, you know, that a very evil, violent person is chosen, it's difficult to react to that. You know, we've done a number of videos lately on active shooter training and that sort of thing, and we're trying to get as much training as we can out there. You know, I've got friends, the Genetti brothers up in Ohio, Melissa and Terry up in Ohio. We've got Celia out in Arizona. We've got Rob up in Alaska. We've got Juan and Alexis down in Fort Myers, and we've got folks all over the place. But no matter how many of us there are, it's just impossible for us to reach everyone who needs to be reached and get that training out there. But we try, because we know that number one could eventually come down to that one person that we're training, that one family that we're training. So we're trying to save the ones. We're trying to save the ones who will take the time to commit to training and to becoming their own best protector, because we know we can't be there to do it for them. So what I'm going to encourage everyone to do when you're thinking about, should I get some active shooter training for myself or my family, right? We don't want you to walk around afraid. So what I want you to do is take your one family, take your one person out there and get that training, because God forbid, you know, if that day comes that it's you need the training and you don't have it, you're in a terrible position. If you go out and you get the training, you spend that one day getting that training, and if you do that, you know, and you, God forbid, need it, you're going to be in a much better position. You're going to have a fighting chance. So again, back to the number one. If there is only a 1% chance, if I'm down to one, that I can fight and survive, should I take that chance? Now, and I've heard some comments from folks watching our videos over the past couple of days. You know, if you all rush an active shooter, you know, people are going to get shot, they're going to get killed. They're right. They're absolutely right. We find ourselves in a horrible situation. If we have an option where we sit and wait to die, and there's a 100% chance that we die, as opposed to we fight and there's even a 1% chance that we survive. And shot doesn't mean dead, by the way. Just because you get shot doesn't mean you die. People get shot all the time, multiple times, and they survive it. There are victims from Pulse the other weekend who survived. They got shot and they survived. I'm glad they did. But if the odds tell me, you know, there's a 99% chance I die, but there's a 1% chance that I can fight and survive, I'm going to fight for that 1%. And that number one again becomes a very big deal. Now, if I sit there and I deny that number one, and I deny that 1% chance, it'll never work, I'll just sit here, then there's a 100% chance that I'll die unless I get lucky, right? So what I want to remind folks to do is fight for that 1%. If you have a 1% chance of survival, fight for it. Fight for your life. Defend it with everything that you've got, because you may win, you may prevail, you may come out on the other side. Remind you again, if you're thinking of that number one in terms of, it's never going to be me, it's never going to be my children, it's never going to be my school, it's never going to be the club that I go to, then you are seriously behind the curve. If you just step out and take the time to get that training, it may be the thing that ultimately saves your life. It reminds me of an old adage, where it says, Master, why do we train in combat? Why do we train in these things? And why do we also train in flower arranging? It was a very common thing in samurai culture. Why do we do these two things? Because there has to be a balance, right? We have to do those things in life that are beautiful and that enrich our lives and that make us happier. And we have to do those things that teach us how to save our lives. And who knows how many beautiful things have disappeared from the world without the one of strength to survive. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. Go out there, get those skills, get your mind, your body, and your spirit set. If you have those skills in place, God forbid you ever need them, but they'll be there for you. I hope that helps everybody. I hope that gives you some encouragement to go out there and get that training. If you have any questions in the meantime, please place them in the comments here, or you can contact me directly, Brandon at sjkravmaga.com. In the meantime, stay safe.